Well, look, man, I'm going to send down very much times off. We can't get it. And then so. Yen and don't go into the chest, and you get it, don't go there, man. Man does it based on my mother, and then don't like it. Trozon when la bujen darte yava dojo yang dance. Ludo jerdo nyamo nyano lente jando dozejo. Nare meze dona nyoko jenye choze roche. Yunden dojo sanjo doze yunden dozo jase dovenko. Shuda jodan jenye den. Dağlarımız Cembe yanlar Mara bazanan edeyim Bilmiyorum Mara bazananlar Mara bazanan Mara bazanan Sende geri geri gelme Veselen geri dağlara durmam Mbara zanem Kadan dence Jumla dobay Atrabave, Dawai Zandai Zoi, Danse, Daure, Dubam, Jose, Dua, and Nine. Gomba, Jamia, Jen, Barion, Dara, Ishro, Ones on those in Ankara, Shitas, Bema, Jamai, Niche. So nam ya dene gaza salangandra mandam there or jazz on gen and bent on send a gendrum don gas gordon ya nam does and dendra grand and bless our soul and don't believe jam up in there number and drum. Yes, I was there, so Gaba didn't have better man, dog on danger, young gents, one bars, and then I got there long term. Number of and yashing there, I'm so jet. But I met and say, and yes, the Lord and yeah, Shabba, so tricky and give or John. This is so couldn't get him on. Around the natural was a kind of bond so long and shall not so on the Maria Dumba and I'm with Engineer Dom Megan. Drawing in United Zamba them jacket, that is so boy and low. Manamodani Bessinjan Town said. Man yesanji bir sorun kobracha te chitu da gitar. Dan beche la Tukdrup Barché Kunsel. Senne nyamsana orgivo nyambe kulon chanjusen selni siljete symbols froze. So please listen to the teachings with the motivation of bodhicitta, thinking that I'm going to listen to this teaching on the preliminary practice of the Guru's heart practice, dispeller of all obstacles, for the purpose of establishing all my mother sentient beings in the state of omniscience. Okay, December chat in the make the wonder of the war. I wondered then what you didn't get that and Campbell would to judge me about the Kazi and Ba. Simple, wonder the eminent getting Gisum. Don't want to jump so sign to. My bum wonder you watch it, my valid, 3 cups of Bamara. About 100 year cups and that. 100 year lion, Jerome wonder, tuning wonder, washing wonder you back up late, and that's about then I'm washing wonder nowadays. So the teaching today is on the preliminary practices to the Guru's heart practice, dispeller of all obstacles. And there are 5 main topics to the teaching. The meaning of the phrase preliminary practices, the way in which the preliminary practices are important, the extensive, medium length, and concise preliminary practices, the way in which the preliminary practices plunge into to gather the accumulations and purify the obscurations, and the types of preliminary practices. And now we're on the last of the 5 topics, the types of preliminary practices. And among the 3 types of preliminary practices, which are the preliminary practices of the material items, the preliminaries to the meditation session, and the preliminaries to the main part, we are now on the preliminaries to the main part.
Ngöndro layang tene timon chi ngöndro. Timing nanji ngöndro niyaba me. Netari kapsoba ba timing chi ngöndro re. Timing chi ngöndro te layang tene lodo nambashi. Yazu nyaka ba tsemita wa le jingde kuri nimi. Chi yobe nane tene kapsoba ba de tene niba tsemita wa te shiwar chawa re.
And there are 2 parts to the preliminaries to the main part, the outer common preliminaries and the inner uncommon preliminaries. And within the outer common preliminaries, there are the 4 thoughts that turn the mind away from samsara, namely the difficulty of obtaining the freedoms and advantages, death and impermanence, karma, cause and effect, and the drawbacks or faults of samsara. And now we're on the second topic, second of those 4, the death and impermanence.
Ne mitauba shidi kapla tene mitauba ke kor tela tene kazan marang tsu tene. Mitauba magumbe nyemik. Mitauba fongge payin. Tene mitauba chidar komchul sine. Ni shaban degre, sum shaman degres.
So as far as this contemplation on impermanence, there are the drawbacks to not contemplating impermanence, the benefits of contemplating impermanence, and the method for contemplating impermanence. And we can either think about that as 2 parts or 3 parts. It doesn't matter too much.
Mitauba kumba nyamsil ensul telayang tene kazan kondo tene jirwa nite. Ane sundu jiko ne tene nyamsil longbayi na tene yabu yores kazan kondo shubayinis.
And last time I was talking about how when we contemplate impermanence, a good way to do it is with the 2 ways to approach the practice, the 2 approaches to the practice, and the 3 combined practices.
Tanchiro niden sena tene kujardang tabzur nipotere. Nane sumde sena tene kajin titik jomwa, tunjen soksawa, tene nyelen mingnam jomwa shibatres.
So the 2 ways to approach the practice are to do the practice with respect and to do the practice continually. And the 3 combined practices are to clear away the hindrances, which are the obscurations and negative actions, then to put in place the conducive circumstances, which is the accumulations, and the direct cause for accomplishing the practice, which is contemplating the object of meditation.
Ta kujardang tabzur de ane zundi res, chirdangi zundi tela tene pai yeyongna, tene kuje zundi, njirwe zundi, choparme zundi sen somyo re, ine tina la tene, te niga surdu shane kujardang tabzur nama tutu res.
So the 2 approaches to the practice of approaching the practice with respect and continually, those 2 basically boil down to practicing diligence, to having diligence. And we can talk about diligence or understand diligence to have three different kinds. The diligence, which is like armor, and the diligence of application, and the diligence, which is never satisfied, or just never satisfied. So you can think about, we can understand diligence in those as having those three types, but otherwise, it also just consists of these two approaches to the practice.
어쨌든 세가 되는 아이디다. 아미다바 갑자자로나 니미다바 디다. 공고기도 삼바테나 되니 고지준주라 그래스. 저르웨진디 시간대 되는 미다바나 파니는 치바이나. 헬라 저르웨진디 스나 그래스. 아니 초퍼미즈베준디 시간저 초퍼미즈베준디 시간대 되니 당내 미다바 bom바이나 타미다바 당송 타직송 텔레탕하고 삼바메바 초시메바 뒤딱도 검대바나 뒤딱도 미다바 검대바라 초퍼미즈베준디스.
So as far as those three types of diligence, the first one, the armor-like diligence, or diligence which is an armor, that is, if we think about these in terms of the contemplation of impermanence, then that first one, the armor diligence or armor-like diligence, would be when you first set about to do the practice and you think, okay, now I have to do this practice. I'm going to contemplate impermanence. And then the second one, the diligence of application, is when you're actually in the process of doing the practice, actually putting into practice. And then the third one, the diligence which is never satisfied, that is when you are doing the practice, contemplating impermanence, and you never have the attitude that, oh, okay, I've done enough of this, I don't need to do it anymore, and just stop. Rather than having that approach, you never quit, and you keep on doing it continually and with a lot of energy.
네, 고제전대담 저르전대니 보테 네, 그저기 나오는 뒤로그래. 그바스나 드니 지대에 바삼바. 미다바 검대에 바삼바여라. 고제전들lap서 온디 그바를 차도게. 저러와디 전들lap아. 접도 받으나. 근데 저러와 차도게. 미다바 검바데. 안에 저러와 차도게. 답저스디 드니 뒤답도 드니 미다바. 위험낸 정도바. 드니 답저스.
So the armor-like diligence and the diligence of application, they both they both are basically equivalent to the approach to the practice, where you approach the practice with respect, because it basically means you, for example, first of all, the armor-like diligence, it consists of that desire or intention to do the practice, and the diligence of application is also likewise into that, is equivalent to that approaching the practice with respect. And so those two basically are subsumed within the approaching the practice with respect.
뒤다도 됩니다고 냠내 잡아 딱 좋대. 아니 초벌매를 betsen디 아니 딱 좋대 나라. 이쪽이어스.
And then the third of those are the
초벌매 betsen디 딱 좋게 나라 뒤쪽이어스. 뒤다도 냠내 잡 뒤다도 메다고 냠내 잡 만 뒤쪽이어스.
The approach to the practice, where you approach the practice continually, that is equivalent to the third type of diligence, which is the diligence which is never satisfied. So in that type of diligence, that approach to the practice where we're practicing continually, it's exactly as it says, you're never really stopping and practicing all the time. So that one is equivalent to the diligence which is never satisfied.
참 미다고 냠년 제발라 테니 딱줄다 그저디 아니 그저다 딱으니 보디 아니 거기 요래 그저다 딱줄디 여바이나 테니 미다고 냠년디 제도 요래.
So when we're contemplating impermanence, we need to have those two approaches where we approach the practice with respect and continually. If we have those two, then we will be able to do the practice.
딱 된데기 그저다 딱줄디 카왈테니 지그레 스나테니 가장 콘도시바 나신지 테니 미다고 와면베 니믹당 미다고 곰베 파연나 테니 테니 그저다 딱줄니 보데 다지 용도고요.
So where do these approaches to the practice, approaching the practice with respect and approaching the practice in a continuous way, how do those come about? How are we able to give rise to those approaches? Those approaches come about, we can give rise to them through understanding the benefits of contemplating impermanence and understanding the drawbacks or harm that comes from not contemplating impermanence.
타딘데기 그저당 딱서도 이거지 온데 타미다바 본두고요래. 이나양 타미다바 양 답반이도 남나 두고요래베스나 아 그저당 딱서니 여바 잠지 테니 미다바 양 답반이지 남나 두고요래베스나 탱해봐요 말.
So if we have those two approaches, we will be able to carry out the contemplation on impermanence. But on the other hand, it's not necessarily the case that with only those two approaches, we will be able to do the practice really properly and fully and genuinely.
네바 미비 김전네 간데르스나 치워집에 가와지 생각 치워집에 가와기 송래. 대송의 김전 가데르스나 시기레스 땅한테 기부 땅벌에서 마신녀라. 마신녀라 기부 땅나마다 신가서 시도거든. 시다 니어 말에 생구다. 어디 치워집에 가와기에서 이 된대기 미다바데 아니 람얌다 양 tapar 람양 tapagi 미다바데 말어.
And why is it that just with those two approaches, the contemplation on impermanence won't necessarily be the true, genuine contemplation? Well, it's related to there's a saying that goes, when people talk about death, then you can get happy or be happy about death. So it's possible that people will hear about death and contemplate impermanence and just think, okay, well, that's okay. I'm just going to have as much fun as I can and as much pleasure as possible before I die. Since I'm going to die, this is going to be my approach to life. So if you have that kind of approach, then that won't be the real, genuine contemplation of impermanence.
시한테 나절라. 레몬 보지 수바다고. 강에 첨보지 채바다고 이나테는 먼저 다 가슴아 시바이나 당한테 플랜에 딜레 탈사레. 강에 딜레 탈사레스. 근데지 타르 탑나 근데 치와 챙기도 와. 미다고 챙기도 와. enjoy야 남이야 답하지 말아도.
And furthermore, it may happen that somebody has a lot of debts or going through a lot of difficulties in their life, and they come to the conclusion that, oh, well, maybe it's best if I die. If I were to die soon, that would be really good for me. I would be free from my debts and free from my difficulties. So this kind of person also is contemplating impermanence. In fact, they're contemplating their death, but it's not the true or proper contemplation of impermanence.
근데 인데 다 그저당 딱저리 여바 잠비 되니 미다바 몸바 양 답에 남라 더투 마트팅 해바면도 봐. 다 미다바 기 남라 양 답바 더투 버쳐바나 되니 라레 숨데르 스닌데 되니 얌슬랑 피어.
So that being the case, just with those two approaches of approaching the practice with respect and approaching the practice continually, just with those two, it's not certain that the contemplation on the permanence will be the true contemplation, the proper way to do the contemplation. What we need to have our contemplation be done in a proper way is those three combined practices.
상관없어 미탁도 냠낸 책임지에 나양 드니 라레 숨드스티 거서드니 갈진 비디죠와 비에 선엄사바 니 레밍남 정와 숨기고는 냠낸 책도 드니 딘데인데 미탁원 냠낸 책에 이나양 드니 틱바 다 보고 요래 아니 선엄사 보고 요래 딘 디기 젤라드니 미탁원 냠낸 책 보고 요래.
So these three combined practices are clearing away the hindrances, which are negative actions and obscurations, and putting in place the conducive circumstances, which is accumulating merit, and the direct cause, which is the contemplation of the object of meditation. So what this means is that in order to do the contemplation properly, first of all, we need to purify our negative deeds, our negative actions, and we need to accumulate merit, and then we need to actually put that contemplation into practice.
가장 광도만 좀 미타바 보면 이따비 교제 숨다 땜바시 공부해서 쉬버라 링도 민내신 신반도 봐 치마 펜제도 줘봐 숨다 된대기 미타바지나 다 미타바 아니 양타바레스.
And the other day we were talking about how the contemplation of on impermanence has to have three aspects, right? First of all, the fact that we are not going to stay here very long. We don't have much time here. And secondly, that to reverse our attachment and clinging, to eliminate our clinging. And third, to accomplish what is beneficial for our future lives. If we have these three aspects in our contemplation of impermanence, then this is really the proper contemplation.
이제 라우레스네지 미타바비 남나 마델바이나 내가나서 미타바 공바이나양 아니 미타바 랑기주바 케투베 네바요 마레 케나양 네 뉴르투 케투그 마레 당가나서 라우레스네디 요바이나 테미타바데 랑기주바 케투게레나 케바티한테 뉴르투 케투고요.
So although we'll be able to do this contemplation, if we don't have the three combined practices, it's not necessarily certain that we're able to really accomplish the practice or really have that meditation change us. And even if it is able to have that proper result of changing us, it won't necessarily be very quick. But if we do have those three combined practices, then we will definitely be able to give rise to this realization of impermanence and have it change us. And furthermore, we'll be able to do it quickly.
저는 항상 아미타바 공견다 여르데나야 아미타바기 그냥 냠낸데랑기 좀 제트부민도 마제바 김전데 가능세나 니 콜라 가진디 니에데바 튠겐데 마상와 테임바 송장 드니 가스고레 미다바기 양답에 람데랑기 제트부요 말에.
So there are many people who are doing the practice of impermanence, contemplating impermanence, but who are not able to really fully accomplish it and really have it change them. And the reason that although they contemplate impermanence, they don't reach that result is that they still have in their way these obstructing forces or hindrances, and they have not put into place the proper conducive circumstances. That's why they can't reach the result.
갈진니 대나 갈진디 바르제로 바르제 망부에 나가나도 자와 내가 뚝뚝면도 테네 튕예 소남 삭삭 튕예디 안에 룩트베긴 깁자다 오즈라 룩트베기 깁자드메나 테네 전다도 룩뚝면도 테나신 갈진 랑기 줄네 튕예 랑기 줄 마사나 다 컴트베 메르
The hindrances to the practice are basically obstacles to our goal, to what we want to do. So obviously, we cannot accomplish what we need to accomplish if we have obstacles in our way, the obstacles to our goal in our way. And similarly, the conducive circumstances are basically the kind of the materials we need, is the things that we need in order to accomplish the practice. And if you don't have the things that you need to accomplish something, then obviously it's not going to happen. So in this way, if we don't have if we have those obstacles and hindrances in our way and don't have the conducive circumstances, we really can't do this practice.
다인디 신바도바데 테네 갈진 살로레 테네 차 페이지도 주와데 소남지 소소바레 테네 녜레밍남 정와데 테네 링도 미네바레 근데 냠는데 나와 최주섬도 상대도 미다와 근데 최주섬도 상마이나 데미다와 양파블라나 두두
So and clearing away the obstacles is the hindrances to the practice is basically equivalent to eliminating our attachment and our clinging, and accumulating merit, accumulating the conducive circumstance of merit, is equivalent to accomplishing what is beneficial for us in our future lives. And contemplating the object of meditation is equivalent to that aspect of understanding that we don't have long here in this life. So we can see that those three combined practices, they contain the three aspects to the proper meditation on impermanence.
가슴바 옌레밍남 정와 다미 타미타고 기냠님 곰자바트레 타미타고 냠는지 곰자바텔라 테니 고사나메샤노나라 테니 미타바 곰줄텔라 테니 치니지 지게나 섬데 미타바 곰바 난지지 심진나 섬데 미타바 곰바 근데 계불라 섬데 미타바 곰바 계불다고나 섬데 미타바 곰바 에디나소나 섬데 미타바 곰바 시쟁에면나 섬데 미타바 곰바 dimbatropola 섬데 미타바 곰바 섬딩딘데 샤요레스.
So as far as the direct cause, which is contemplating the object of meditation, this is what is taught in the words of my perfect teacher, where there's this consists of actually doing the meditation itself, the contemplation of the object of meditation. It means meditating on impermanence, contemplating impermanence. And so in the words of my perfect teacher, these seven aspects of impermanence are taught. Contemplating impermanence with regards to the external vessel world, contemplating impermanence with regards to the inner beings, which are the contents in the external vessel world, and contemplating impermanence with regards to holy beings, contemplating impermanence with regards to the powerful beings, contemplating impermanence by means of various analogies and examples, and contemplating impermanence with intensity.
당보 친이기 직단을 선데 미다바 본바데 간데를 세만테니 나만한조 단다 직된지 뭐고 직그 첨보 나와데 뭐고 첨보 나와데 아니 대양테니 남식테니 지도고 요레스.
So the contemplation on impermanence with regards to the external world, the vessel, that involves contemplating our world, which is a very large entity. It's right. It's a really huge thing, and so we contemplate how even that large entity of our external world, that also will not last and is impermanent.
다티지 프로데 컨디션을 내려서나 매일이나 추이직 대따라 추된 탈내장 죽도 로기지 와인 송요레스 그당보 직된지 감데테니 매기지기 요레 송요레스.
So the way that the external world is destroyed is described in a verse that goes, there's 7 fires, 7 destructions by fire, and then that said there's 7 destructions by fire, along with 1 destruction by water. And then when 7 destructions by water are finished, then there's a destruction by wind. So it's taught that at first the world is destroyed by fire.
이바테 테니 추이지기레스 숨바테 똥이지기레스 타티 지기비 좀전데 가레스나 직된지 감디 히 가요레스나 테니 차분히 직동기 남라테니 tro보기요레스 인 찹베투 직된 네베투 직된 직베투 직된 똥베투스 되게 남라테니 tro보기요데 네 지베 칼바데 테니 지베투라 샤구요레스.
So how does this destruction take place? There's first the destruction by fire, then second the destruction by water, and then finally the destruction by wind. And this all takes place within the cycle of creation, remaining, destruction, and emptiness. So in other words, there's a period of time when the world is being created, and then there's a period of time when that created world is remaining. Then there's a period of time when that world is being destroyed, and then there's a period of time when there's just empty space. So the destruction that we're talking about takes place during the period of time when the world is being destroyed.
나가라서 미식이 제라 나가라서 다 개가 나시지 동안나 텐트 쪽으로도와 어때 나신 직된지 임베 송데 직된 내기 직된 임베 송데 아니 갈서거라 아니 차내 직동나 땡고.
So for example, it's just as with the humans, as soon as there is a human, in other words, once one has a human existence, or one will inevitably go through the 4 experiences of birth, old age, sickness, and death. That's just the way that human existence goes. And these phases of the world are in the same way. All worlds, it's just in their nature of all worlds that they will go through these phases of creation, remaining, destruction, and emptiness.
그런데 삼발라타타 직된지 감데다타 퇴남양 직삼말에 삼기도와 퇴남양 애기면나 직된 라브 말다 직스나 직도엘라 직라브라 땡스데 직바 첨볼랑 완전 땡데 데어 땡데 직된 라브라.
So we generally think that this world will not be destroyed. We just go about with the frame of mind that this world is probably not going to be destroyed. It's just going to stay there. but this is not the case. And this is illustrated by the word for world in Tibetan, which is jikden. The first syllable jik means destruction or to be destroyed, and then is the support or the basis. So even in the very word for world, jikden, it basically means a basis for destruction. It means a basis for destruction. So that is where we're living, and even with that word, we can see that the world will be destroyed.
다 된되게 진된 대양 되네 매다 쇼다 롱게 징이레스 슈바라와 다 매지 간다선데 지기레스나 단당 아라운드 저기 남대기 니마데 아니 야게기 차와 미지르 차와용데 네 차와 체로 두고 열레스.
So this world will be destroyed by fire, water, and wind. And the way that it's destroyed by fire is that at first there will be a sun, which is 7 times hotter than the hot summer sun.
네 된되게 니마데 샤용데 니마 타보 게테네 찌싱다 나사우텐초 아니 세트로그레스.
So the first, and so this first sun will destroy all the forests and plants, will burn up all the forests and plants.
니마 니바디 테네 큐추당 킬추 텐초 테네 감트로그레스.
And the second sun that will come will dry up all the smaller rivers and ponds and smaller lakes.
니마 숨바 되게 테네 짱추 첨부 짱부 첨부다서 감트로그레스.
And then the third sun will dry up the greater, larger rivers.
니마 시바 되게 테네 추 첨부 텐조양 감트로그레스.
And the fourth sun will dry up the very large bodies of water, like large lakes and seas.
니마가 되게 테네 타이께서 타마트 타이께서 텐조양 감트로그레스.
Then the fifth sun will dry up the great oceans.
니마 투바 되게 테네 리당 강릴라소바 테네 마 세트로그레스.
And the fifth sun will
투바
the sixth sun will burn up the mountains, even the snow mountains, all the mountains and land that will be burned up by the sixth sun.
만든바 되게 테네 링시 링제 이제버르가 제가 탐트 세트로그레스.
And the seventh sun will totally burn up all the continents and islands and subcontinents together with the Mountain Meru.
이나야 직된지 감디 색이오데 아니 직된 감디라 심진 내열 무슨 내열 말에 심진디 담보 똥도 그래 생야위 심진디 똥 이다 심진디 똥 되네 되네 미 심진 똥 되네 삼된 당보기 되네 심진 상마 똥이 되네 내장발 하고 되게 이 값으니 이메기 직바디 메기 직바디 내용 거레스.
But however, when this destruction by fire happens, there are actually no beings present in the world at that time. The beings in the world had already been already disappeared. So the beings in hell disappear, and then the beings in the hungry ghost, the Preta realm disappear, then the animals and humans and the demigods disappear, and all the gods up through the first form realm, the first Dhyana realm, they also disappear. So it's when all of those beings in all of those realms had disappeared, and the world is empty of all those beings, most beings, then it will this destruction by fire will happen.
네 메제된소마 투르나 밤네 테네 냐르기네 상마색 냐르네 색사데 메제야 캔런네 테네 삼데 당በ기네 상마색도 그랬어.
So when the destruction by fire happens, then the fire will travel all the way down to hell and burn up the hell realm, and then we'll go back up and burn all the realms from the bottom up, all the way up to the first form realm, first dhyana realm.
Tene samde nyibagi latin zo tene meba chan samde ngi samde nyibagi ne jangba phate ten samde nyibagi ne de lang ne samde nyibagi hane la tinchi nyingbo sen timba ji chagor chigi timba charba de timba chagor tene charba de mse chimbo tandang lan me ja yi nya shin dang shoda sen de de da bu charba chimbo jabyo de charba chimbo de len dyen jaba len dyen jaba de se samde nyibagi hane de zo tene ara lenza chila timba tar tene timdo gre so
Di chui menga trick tingi
de chuning
training.
nam khana timba ji sha por de ming.
So in this way, all of the realms up to the first form realm are destroyed by fire, and then the beings in the second form realm will then disappear, and there will just be the empty realm. The second form realm will just be empty, and at that time there will be a great clouds appearing there, which are called like the clouds with the watery clouds, or the clouds with a lot of water. And at that time, those from those clouds there will be a really great rain, a very like extremely torrential rain, and the kind of showers in that from those clouds are not like ordinary rain. They're kind of this very thick, like the size of yolks for putting on the farm animals. And then that heavy rain will fall in the second form realm, and it will destroy it in the manner, and that form realm will be destroyed like salt dissolving into water.
De ji chui ji go de de zo sai je la ni samde sum bang thane de zo ha de zo tong to de ni samde sum be gan thane de ni wok shi tan nang zo zambu ding di wo la de lung dur je janam sing je re lung de lung de ya lang yong ya lang on de ni samde sum bang thane sang to to de je ni da je de ni kam de de sen jig ne ni da jig ji bi kan ba se de je le be yo es bor.
So, and that rain also from the clouds will, in the second form realm, will have 7 kind of phases. It will happen 7 times and finally entirely destroy the second form realm. And then up to the third form realm, those beings in the third form realm first will then disappear. And after all the beings have disappeared and that realm is empty, there's a kind of a base of wind at the bottom of the world, which is referred to as the crossed Vajra or the double Vajra base of wind. And so at this time, when the third form realm is empty, that crossed Vajra of wind will rise up and come to the third form realm and totally destroy it. It will kind of scatter everything and destroy the third form realm. So this is the manner in which our world will be destroyed. This is the nature of destruction that this world will go through.
신이기지 된데는 미다바염바 근데서 공부레스 타 된데스는 검사에 제라 되는 공부 대부다고 증언한서 가르다 보고 요래서 나다 신이기지 된 첨부 된다양 이런 거 되게 된다야 지게 그 뒤에 요나 되는 나랑 말아주기 된 총종대 아니 뇌 총종대다 가디직 네바요 말에 삼고 요래스.
So this is how we should contemplate the impermanence of the outer world, which is like the vessel outer world. And what should the result of this contemplation be like? we should understand that if something this large, such as our external world, is so huge and seems so solid, if even something like that will be eventually destroyed in this way, then what need to say that our own bodies, which are so small in comparison and so fragile, that they really are even more likely to be, more like liable to destruction, and there's no certainty about how long our body will remain.
Nga ranzo di jikden tila chinne ki jikden si chinne na goye kemse ne karese na nga ranzo di jikden di gangla deyen di ane chinne ki jikden di ne dobo chi chao sang di tene tila chinne labares.
So this our external world is referred to here as the external vessel world, and the reason that it's called a vessel is that it's kind of it's where we as the sentient beings, we are like situated inside it, so it's a vessel for us.
Ani ba nangje ji semje na samde me baba bomba sigo ta nang chi sibi kapso chi din ne chap chinne ki jikden din ne chap on de nang la dengen ning anzo ro anzo di chi la cha so ne di nang ji sila ba nangje ji semje na samde me baba bomba.
So the second topic of contemplation is contemplating impermanence with regards to the sentient beings, which are contents. So first, the external world, which is like a vessel, is formed, and then within that external world, which is like a vessel, there are the contents of the vessel, which are us as the sentient beings.
Ne nangje ji semje de so lang ni ta bom so de kan de vesena ne ma rang so da jikden ji kham na ki ne song tne chiwa na ro gu yore kiwa khrang tne kar se wore ki yong char ne tne shiwa di tne yong gu yore.
So the way that we should contemplate impermanence with regards to sentient beings is to think, understand how we as sentient beings, as soon as we are born, we are basically headed for death. Whatever is born, whatever being is born, they eventually, inevitably have to experience death.
Ki ne chigu dimzen karesana tne chiwa men ki yo marwa ki di tne chiwa sing de chongso angburang ma ki na tne chiwa sing de yo marwa chiwa sing ani kiwa na de ne chongdo.
So the reason for this, that whatever is born is eventually has to die, is that if there's no death, in order for there to be death, there has to be birth, and whatever is born will inevitably die. If you have a birth, then also you will have to have death. So there's dependent on one another.
Kiwa chiwa de la ning anzo samla yo tang chiwa yonggo di kiwa na tne yongyo do amare do kiwa sing de mena chiwa sing de kanesni yonggo yong tabi yomar.
So we should think about this well, how these are related. Think about how birth and death are related. The existence of death itself is dependent on birth. It's inherent within birth itself. Once something is born, then it's just its nature to die. It's inherent within birth.
Ngranzo ki ne ani shido ngranzo dangni ki mena ka shi go shi sing de yong mar.
So in other words, we die after having been born, right? If we're never born, then we're not going to die. It's just by being born itself that we will die.
Ta kiwa no shiwa imba de insu karisa ore 사모인데 토리나 겐이라라 마시원 가시티기 통함 캐서모인데 텐덤사 소레 다사암 시디갑소테네 탄다 사디당 테네 대유고 잉소숨나 소바 토리나 시디 라다 타미나 소바
So this is explained, the inevitability of death, that we, having been born, we will die. That is explained in the verse that goes, have you ever seen anyone on the earth or in the higher realms of existence who, having been born, did not die? Or have you ever even had a doubt that there could be somebody like that? So this, the meaning of this verse is that, have you ever seen anybody on earth? And the earth refers to the beings living on the surface of earth, as well as those beings living below the earth in the lower realms. And the higher realms of existence refers to the demigods and the gods.
되게 도와를 좀 나가지 왜 센체텐조 아니 겐네 라라 마시바스테 카시시 마시바테데 토에 여러베스는 토에 말에서 겐네 라라 마시바 카시전이 토아 암스 토에 여러베스 야나 토에 여러베스 마시바 여레 생이데 토에 여러베스 야나 차랑기 텐좀사니 근데 저 여설에 쌈나야 대양요 말에서
So all of these beings in the six realms described there have we ever seen any being, any of those kind of beings that was born and then didn't die, just remained alive forever? Or have we ever even heard about any such being that was born and then didn't die? Or the answer is no. Nobody has ever seen that kind of being. Nobody has ever even heard of that kind of being. Or has anybody even wondered if it's possible, doubted whether it's possible that there could be such a being? And basically, no, nobody has that kind of doubt.
산제 시급은 산제지 로지지 좋아 그러나 하마직라 되네 부구시게 부구대 아닌 시니다 산계생인데 변마서 사천부 숙천부 시다래 상이 부구도 시제도 야랑그리 되네 산제 좀 된데 군들을 돌다 라이케 변마서 미상마 이첼스 키변마서 하네와 시르 되네 근데 체지 되네 farsa고네 부구도 야랑로 체 스탑선 산제기다 지난주 오스 지난 미장대 강발교 미장대서 강발라 미마시와지 요바 이 시만용 조직 미상 강바데 요나 리기 미상 강바기 리기 미샹은 시만용 바기 리기인데 상마지 요바이나 흰키랑 나자라 쇼다니 키랑 보고 야랑 올라 근데 제가 왜절라 테니 포모디 미상 강 그러면 창이 리기라 미싱 요레베 상상하게 시에 라브라 에뽀뽀담 뽀뽀다 시사를 라이라 마시제 치아메디 테니 담을 하고래 다시 예지도 시사를 제라 나에서 말해 되는데 그런 게 디발 렌디 코랑 라서 렌디다 시보고요 스토마
So this fact that death is inevitable for every being is illustrated in a story about the Buddha. There was a mother of a child living at the time of the Buddha, and her child died, and she was very upset about that, obviously. And at that time, of course, the Buddha was a very important person and very highly regarded. And so, so the Buddha was a very famous person at that time. And that mother thought, okay, I will search out the Buddha. Maybe he can help me. Maybe he could even bring my child back from death. So she went to the Buddha and told him what was happening and said, can you help me and bring my child back? And the Buddha said, First, you have to do something for me, and then maybe I can help you. He said, go around to all the households in this area and talk to the people in each household and ask them if somebody from their family, if somebody from their family has died, and try to find one household where nobody has died. And so the mother went and did as the Buddha said, and went to all of the households in the area and asked them, is there anybody in our family who has died? And of course, in every household, there's somebody who has died, the father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, and so on. And so she came back to the Buddha, and the Buddha said, okay, if you can tell me that you found one household in which nobody had ever died, then I will bring your child back to life. And he said, well, what did you find? And she said, well, no, there's no household anywhere where nobody had died. And in that way, then the Buddha had kind of had answered her question and relieved her that way.
Then 강 수강이나 시골에 대송다 마시 사댕레바 지gam에 간다 직직기대 8월로 송어를.
So in this way, everybody has to die. There's nobody who can avoid death, and it's taught. There's nobody who will be left here in the world who won't die and be left here in the world. And now, one after the other, people are dying.
Then around to the Drupla Poetic the Moiric near it. Poetic Kamante Obola Soba and she said, Moiri Gila Soba, they on a moment Soba. She's Laria. Shigiore, Chisarare, Hayang, Shishimbare, Mohamba Lion Shijur.
So we can think about how with us as humans, we have men and women, right? There's males and females. Absolutely all the males that we know in the that have lived in the past and living now, they will all die. And all of the females also will also die in the same exact way. In the past, they have already died, and in the present, there are some also dying now. And in the future, also, all of them, all of us will die.
That ending Chiwa did, Sissini. Chiwa Tukdi, Henny, Kangijam, and by him. And by maybe Jones in the Karasena, Sissini Chiwala Tukdi, Angshin Kangijam, Tenny Kak the Yamare, Sissini Chiwala Tukdi, Tenny, Rawan Chita, Yamare, Sissini Chiwala Tukdi, Tenny, Roshi Chawa, Yidumion, Bajavenis Judu.
And this fact of death is unavoidable, it's inevitable. And also, when it happens to us, inevitably, there's absolutely nothing will be of any use at that time. There, neither ourselves nor anybody else can do anything about it at that time. We will have no control or no power over it at that time. And with no choice about it, we will become corpses, which are really unpleasant and disgusting and really frightening.
That's it, and the Chola to be Shin County Jang, Tene Chola come to what they can do is now. Tene Tatam Dang on top of me. Now she Tajikondu Shiva, the Salmon, the Tori Nakinilla, Mashiva Gashi to one Tezam, the Tenusa City. Tanganzo, the Tigli Kone, and the Tig the Tene Tangari Dog the Senate. Tanganzo Yamaji Shibo to Wilson, some of the Ligra.
Yeah. So when our life runs out and we inevitably die, neither ourselves nor anybody else will be able to do anything about that. And we can think about this first by contemplating that verse that says whether that we can think about beings living on the earth or in the higher realms of existence. Have you ever seen any one of them that having born did not die? Or have you ever heard about that? Or have you ever even wondered or had a doubt about that there's any kind of being that was born and then did not die? So when we think about that verse, we will come to a real understanding about the inevitability of death.
And in the Maranzotine, the Namchi Chigre, somebody little Yorede, Minayang, Namching Emeti to shit. Yola Majibi Jinji, Ani Takzin Chizeji, the Kodala Yang.
So although we will be able to understand the inevitability of death in this way, understand that it's impossible not to die, we won't necessarily come to the understanding that the time and the circumstances of death are uncertain. And because we don't have that understanding that the time and circumstances of death are uncertain, we will be caught up in distraction in this state of mind where we kind of hold things to be lasting and permanent.
Ne, Kandoyanga, Mokashin, I, Yana, Dosam. The Gire, Samne, Tini, Sedijing over Tenzola, Tini, Tingala, Quere, Moanbala, Pembe Chitula, Tini, Chawa Chevala, so Wayongi.
And being in that state of mind, we have the idea that I'm going to live for some time, or maybe even a longer time. And with that kind of attitude that we're going to stay here for some time, we will then have the come to the conclusion, or thinking in such a way that we will want to accumulate different kind of possessions, and we will want to undertake different activities or projects, or have different goals for our life, because with the understanding that we're going to be here for some time, so these will be beneficial for us.
That teacher on the Tini, Sidindigi, Yasumla Drube, Chasula Shimbekap, dear, and it says in the Chiva Libdi, Tini Rangila, Ovipon, Lembeshi, Chubigyu, Kebetam, Zemesu, Yope Bang, Kandashi Imbatam, Kandashi Yonayang, Chiwana, Kakwe Yomare.
So in this circumstance, where we're caught up in this holding to things being lasting, but inevitably our life will run out and we will die with no choice about it. When that finally happens, when our life runs out and death comes to us, nothing can help us. No kind of military force and no power or influence will help us. No wealth or possessions will help us at that time. No beauty or good looks could help us at all. No skill with words or persuasion could help us, and no kind of speed, any kind of a communication with the speed, fast communication type of facility will help us. Yeah, at that time, nothing at all could help us.
자 치워라 가고 이나 테니 나랑저 체디 마세 응은라 테니 체 두바체네 체름도 다양담 테니 마여관에 테니 청하는 진도네 테니 심에 체고한 터비담 내가 나신 게 팅바를 받고 있나네 저세 아디오가 교갈 겁네 우리토번호 테니 시험에 봐 차와서 이제 이거네다 체 마생이야다 두베요래
But in the meantime, there are some methods to deal with death, with this problem of death. There are different practices that we can do to prolong our life. And there is in the Mahayoga teachings, there are the practices of Amitayus with the long life, impermanence, and so on. And there are also the practices of the direct ascent, where we can accomplish the body of light. There are these methods.
얘나양 체세 잡디 드는 가양 제트베요 말을
However, when our life runs out, there's at that point there's nothing we can do about it.
체세네 드니 대신도 드니 체세네 치유 들라 밥디 뭐 라니 드니 짝 감나나 무공매백이 감나와 쇼네 드니 대예 타고라 드니 어위 기부딘데 천 더바 본적 토마트니 따제 동제 치러 코네 되나양 드니 trejudan 갑규 부자매요 말.
And at that time, when the death comes to us, even if we were to hide ourselves and try to protect ourselves for example, in a iron box, iron house, or some kind of safe like that is totally impenetrable with no gaps at all, and for example, maybe surrounded by many guards, really strong guards with all kinds of weapons, spears and what have you, guarding it. Even if we were to try to escape in that way, there's no way we could escape. There's no way we could hide from death.
딘데체네 드니 마시와라 데토구요나다 직든지 감라 잡부 망보요라 잡부 딘들 망을 망고시다요라 만나마 탄다 파기로와 지간 가면도
So there's no way to to avoid death. Everybody will have to face death. So, for example, also we can think about the kings and the rulers in this world. There's so many kings and rulers have lived and had so much power, but none of them could escape death. No, there's no kings and rulers like that from the past that remain anymore.
체세니 치와나 국디 드니 신지로 바체네 법이 제사요 말에 셈비 고사요 말에 유세지 루사요 말에 주사단 갑사요 말에 껴바 껴바요 말에 근당 봉인 강 그냥 로바 체나야 체투베요 말에
And when death comes to us, there's no way to deal with it using any kind of force, of military, so on. There's no kind of way to use any power that we may have in the world to deal with that problem. There's nobody to pay off or give money to deal with the problem. There's nobody to try to persuade with our speech to deal with the problem. there's absolutely no protector from that problem. There's no refuge we can go to at that point.
탑시 가야냐 말에 대신도 되네 잡기 쳐도 줘봐 긍제진지 다니기 아니 가야 뭐잖아요 제도고요 말
There's absolutely nothing to do at that point. There's no solution. Even these great protectors that we have for us, who have totally pure compassion, great compassion, at that time, at the time of death, they also could not do anything for us.
인제진지 다니 산지명기 람로스 촌에 되니 미치에 면진바에 나양 되니 치와나 까프에요 말에 대신도 되니 체이 다니 상기 체바메 모스 촌에 되니 치왕고르데 아니 치와라 되니 체름도 나요 말을 내가 나신지 되니 뉴톱지다보 차나도르제 촌에 되니 치다고 되니 뉴바데니 되니 치와네 타로 소트베요 말 된디 tukje 강기양 되네 로가 챘나야 제도베요 말
Even the Lord of Compassion, the medicine Buddha, if he were to come to us at that time with the medicine of Amrita, of immortality, and give us that medicine, even that would not be able to help us at that time. And even if the Lord of life, the Amitayus, were to come to us at that time and give us a life empowerment, life force, or long life empowerment, also that would not help at all. And even if the Lord of power, Vajrapani, for example, even if he came and exercised his power on death and tried to free us from that situation of dying, even that, even he could not do that. That wouldn't be no help. So all of these, even these protectors with great compassion, even they cannot help that. Could not help that situation.
메인데타 세세네 체원나 tukdietini rang신 강기장 까미도바데 텐데시 다 세세네 체원나 tuk디 rangchi 강 메바데 간다레세나
So in this way, when our life runs out and we face death, this is the way in which neither us nor anybody else will be able to help us. And now to explain how at the time of death we will be totally powerless, we'll have no power over it. Explain it in the following way.
다 세세네 체원나 tuk디 엠보 남도보 이나양 라와요 마레 시주레 테네 셈보 토도보 이나양 테네 라와요 마레 시주레 테네 닝제보 자신도보 이나양 테네 라와요 마레 시주레
So when our life runs out and death is facing us, even if we are as high as the sky, so to speak, and have a high position as high as the sky, we cannot do anything. We just have to die. We have no power over it. And even if we are as powerful as a thunderbolt, that time we have no power to do anything about it, and we will just have to die. And even if we were as beautiful as a rainbow, at that time, that won't help us at all. We have no power, and we'll just have to die.
수 광라양 테네 치와로브르도 레바이나 테네 기노르롱제 녀미들 코르로마 뱅아리 사동롱제 감제 Chalmebe Shindo Tini Margini Pudimba Shindo Rani Chibo Dogunger.
And no matter who we are, when death suddenly comes upon us, all of our possessions, our money, and so on, all our material possessions, all of our friends and relatives, all of our people helping us, if we have students or disciples or servants and things like that, people helping us, and or if we have power over some land and political power, things like that, all of those things, all of those possessions, all of those people, we have to leave all of them, absolutely all of them. And just like a hair that is removed from butter, we have to go completely alone without anything.
Tatin Regi Tuna, Tini Toa Mamboki, Tini Lama Injam, Tini Toa Chijam, Tisa Yomare, Kamji Jukin Tobu Yore, Tini Detita Mamboki, Jalka Mamboki, Tini Bumbo Yenjam, Tini Yopo Chijam, Tisa Yomare, Kamji Jukin Tobu Yore, Tini Zambulingi Juno Longe Tamji, Dabo Yinayan, Kaptan Kuba Zamyan, Keju Yomare, Kamji Jukin Tobu Yore. Tana Rangi Cheperzembe Lujam, Tini Jukin Tobu Yore.
So even if somebody is a lama that has thousands and thousands of monks under him and serving him, that kind of lama will have to leave all of those monks behind, or if even if we are a kind of rich person or powerful person that has a lot of servants and people around them to help them, even that kind of person will have to leave everything behind, all of those servants behind, and go alone. And even a ruler of the a ruler of a large area, like a political ruler who has a lot of power and people serving him as well, he'll have to leave all of them behind and go alone. And even our body itself that we cherish so much, we will have to leave that body behind as well.
That's in the two and a good around about personal them. Simber de down to semi for Mashiba the hint to give you the in I am Martin.
And Guru Rinpoche has taught about this fact that we have to leave everything behind and no power over it. He said, even if you want to stay alive, you have no choice in the matter. You have no power over it. You have to go. So even if we would want to remain and not die and stay here, we can't do anything about it. We have no control over that.
Tade thingy says the shoe on open day near on the bar.
So this is the way in which when our life runs out and death comes to us, this is the way in which we will have no power over it.
That says in the show on open day thingy, Roshi shower, you do me all, Chibachivinius, Juba de Candadesena.
And when our life runs out and death comes to us, we will also end up as a corpse, which is really unpleasant and disgusting and something really frightening.
Just tandang around so tiny Latini, Tuloya Wokongore, 칼라시보사도 요래 대간나 현재 되니 과사래 릭슨보래 니 제보래 제마래 아니 시행기 제고 제바다 니 인제는 세워쳐서 전바쳐서 강 이나야 니 치외 되는 박디 되니 로셰 자와줄게
And so now, as it is, we clothe our bodies with all kinds of nice clothes. We like to get clothes for our body, and we feed our bodies with nice food. And we may have a high position in this body, and we may have be part of a high social class. We may be really beautiful or handsome, and we may have all kinds of people that are caring about us, care about us, and take care of us, concerned with us. But in the end, no matter what kind of those things we have for our body, it will become a corpse in the end.
자 로셰 자와줄사디 네 예드미와와 직변야스 쳐봐 근데 차도그래 다디 카레스나 강보테네 야쿠시우즈레 야쿠시우디 바드베템디 근데 듭자시 차도다
And so in this way, we will become a corpse, which is really disgusting thing, unpleasant thing, and something very frightening. And in the beginning, we consider our body to be something very good and treat it very well and so on. But in the end, it changes and becomes a corpse in this way.
당고된 딱 펜도 시브지와 봐? 딱 펜도 시브 예바디 파키로 왔다 펜도 지암에 바디 차로 가시는 펜도 지암에 바 로 차도라 이드미원 차도라 집바지 비즈니스 줄거라 이 펜도 메바 아 강동안 안서 되니 가서 거래 고서 톰보 릭톰보 직보 칼라시보 둘로라 수보 둘로야 보 관련 된다다 펜도라 펜도 데이터 펜도 메바질 차도라
Yeah, this thing that is something considered very good will eventually become a corpse, which is really disgusting and terrible thing, frightening thing. So as it is now, with our body, we try to clothe it very well and feed it and so on. And we try to accomplish some kind of benefit in this way for it. Try to get something out of it and benefit it. We clothe it nicely, feed it, and we take care to have a good position while we're in this body and so on and so forth, and want to be beautiful and handsome and have all these benefits related to the body. But in the end, there's something that we were considering to have some benefit in that way. In the end, it becomes, without any benefit, it becomes something totally useless and something disgusting and frightening.
근데 나랑 소개다 위에다 브로싱인데 사무데 스탄불 요래 나랑 좀 뮤직이다 나랑 좀 스토프스 때문에 수보다 지지고도 오늘은 류스나 나랑 킬로미터비 6샤에 제가 류송 나도 어디 대답하신 거 6샤에서 류라.
So we should think well also about the words.
킬로미터 there.
We should think also very carefully about the words. On the one hand, the word for body and also the word for corpse. And in Tibetan, the word for body is lu, which actually means something that is left behind or abandoned. So as we are now, we really consider our body something so precious and something we should take a lot of care of and pay attention to, and so on. But in fact, thinking about the word lu, which means something left behind. In the end, and no matter how much we care for it and think it's important, in the end, we have to leave it behind. So the body is something that we leave behind and kind of have to abandon, and that we can't take with us.
다 러시아바데 테니 피제 베잘라데 테니 피제 메바 차송나 다디 로 삽마 세 산이 테니 삽마 피제 메바시도 어떤 로스 나브로 나나즈 리디 테니 삽로 롤 차 피제 메 엔도메 니바메.
And as far as the word for corpse, which is a ro, this verse refers to something that originally was useful or had some use or goodness to it, and then becomes something that is useless and we just have to, it's just a kind of a waste. It's the kind of leftovers. That's the meaning of a ro. I use the word ro, which means corpse. So in this way, our body also will become something that is kind of now become useless and is just a kind of a trash or leftover.
잠깐만 아나운서 테니 시sabde 테니 로 셰바데 차우티 테니 간단 아나운서 테니 미세데라 테니 나미 당 비자스네 베 자침보 야부테네 테니 견존의 펜바체네 테니 베절몽 저는 미세데라 베절몽 체데기 요레데 인나양 라니 시sabde 테니 공소지 가르치기 요레 셈나.
And given that we will become a corpse, a ro in this way, something that is useless, ro, the corpse, even all the people that we have around us now, our friends and family and so on, that are so important to us and that take care of us so well now and pay so much attention to us now. After we die, then
then 당하나 저게 나무기 체도 빼면 세타 펜도 망고체 미세들라 트네 나무기 체도다 그새 잘기여라 다깔용데 다나 마랑 시sabdi 롤라 규르사디 나무이든 저게 나무이다 니니들도 저게 가르치기 어려서는 마랑 저 로딜라 트네 tambo toklo reyo 아니 답했담.
So all of these people, family and friends and so on, that we put so much effort into caring for, and to do so much for, when it comes to the time that we die, after we're dead, we will become a corpse. And what will they do then for us when we are a corpse? They wrap our body in cloth and tie it together with rope.
아니 로디 칠라 킬도에게 잘라든서 프라디체 아니 강조교 강반 칠라삐 아니 토텔라 cal.
They wrap us up in a cloth and tie us together with rope, and they bring in they take the things they use to take the corpse out of the house, and they get it out as quickly as they can, and then they just take it. They take it to the cemetery or the crematorium, the charnel ground.
아니 사다 도다 싱다 메라 소바테니 콘소게 페제타네 테니 완소기다 수고티 테니 버 메기 메라 트랑네 테니 메바 소샤기도.
And then they take earth and stones and wood, and then make a fire, and they use that fire to destroy our body.
이 원전의 예바견조 니 파마 비게된 적이 되는 메바 소샤기도 하나 소샤기도.
And in this way, our family, our parents and friends and family and so on, they take something that we had, our corpse, and then they destroy it, they get rid of it, isn't it?
Tene kalde tedar mache nayang ani kachigido sala be chula gyu chala jimbala soba chigido.
And even if they don't do that, if they don't burn up the body, they will bury it underground or toss it into the water, into rivers, and so on, or give it to the birds.
Hama pinja tensagi tene ngarang sobu te tene farsa wore. Hendo mebegi chala ngobo soda bujichene. Hayu shagido.
And our parents and relatives, basically what they're doing is taking something that is useless and throwing it away.
Tene inde pondo ngarang la tin karso yobate mebase. Tene karso gore. Ngarang la tene karso gore. Hendo mebegi chala soda bujichene. Hayu shagido. Enzo la ngone samlo te stana ngone nganzo. Semba kyobo ya dobuji minduge. Semba kyobo ya dobuji doa.
So in this way, they take something that we used to have, our body, and they destroy it. They get rid of it, and they basically take our corpse and treat it like something that's now useless, and they just throwing it away. It's something useless, so now it has to be thrown away. So if we think about that, it's a little bit sad, right? We should actually get a kind of sense of sadness or weariness when thinking about this.
자, 로차마 엔데 차기도와. 다 예드 메와 차루고요. 다 예드 메와 세비 칸데스네레스나. 아니 가나운조 다시 차르티 티는 가나운조 수보티 티니 다 간소거래. 샴도브데 티네 나포타고 원아웃도 지큐. 아니 수보기 르디앙 티니 지고 차보도 차. 아니 로디라양 티니 치마카. 마가위니스 주르기도와. 예드 메와.
Yeah, so this is how our corpse will be treated in that way, and furthermore, thinking about the corpse is also something that is very unpleasant. It is something. First of all, after we die, our corpse will have a kind of the complexion will change and be kind of a darker and a kind of bluish color, and it will become heavier than when it's alive, and it will start to give off a unpleasant smell and so on. So we should also think about this, about how our corpse will be really disgusting and unpleasant in this way.
이제 버티 비즈니스 키로한테 컨트롤해서나 근데 미가 시식이 되네 로티 되네 롤라운드 키로그레 삼바트롭 야마 젤라 소바존네 데줄그레 삼바트롭 근데 기 토베고네 되네 로나 지만 지게요 이제 비즈니스 키로바서.
And also the corpse, not only is the corpse unpleasant, but it's also something frightening. People may be concerned that there's a corpse around and it could become a zombie. It become reanimated and come back as a zombie, or that it may be taken over by demons. So in this way, also corpses are frightening.
근데 인데 와라운데 완전 시와데 되는 남친 예매래 단 남친 예배에 빈진세 하더랬으나 되는 배전나 가르쳐를 갑자기 나도 치와르규 대신 가지 깨졌나 대신 가지 고졌나 대신 가지 용교나 날에 게단달라신 날라 탈라 파베미 렌지랍도 프로젝트 직도 멤버 성화신 송요래 자카원데스나 네 카우징아도 치워르주스 미카우지 되네 남친 예매이바 카우지 되네 아메코바나나 시도그레서.
So this is also described. As for the way in which the circumstances and time of death is uncertain, this is described in some verses. It says, some die within their mother's womb, and some die while they're being born, and some die while they're still crawling on the ground. Some die while they are after they learn to walk, and
养老当中啊，
some die as they are going here and there. Some die when they're young. Some die when they're old. Some die when they are healthy, mature adults. But there's no certainty to the time of death. So for the first of these, some die when they're still in their mother's womb. When after the mother is pregnant and has a child in the womb, there's many people, of course, many babies, of course, die even then while they're still in their mother's womb.
근데 이제 나랑저게 당무에서 통도 통신발에 남친님이 부부시와 통구요래 김바시와 통구요래 슌바시와 통구요래 기부시와 통구요래 록 남친님이래도
People will die in any of these circumstances, and this is something that we actually all see around us and experience ourselves, that the time of death is uncertain. Some people we know, they die when they're young. Some people die after they're already old. Some people die maybe when they're mature adults, some as children, or so and so on. We all have seen people dying this way, and so this is very clear that the time of death is uncertain.
사티 나지지 센질라 삼데미다 바곰바데레스 아니 내지 센질라 삼데미다 바곰네 되는 원베데부다 보팅하나도 아리게보레스 나트니 달레로 치시지왕도 다이미도 담베체데 조고도 삼고레스.
So this is how we contemplate the impermanence with regards to sentient beings, which are the contents in the vessel. And so what should be the result of the contemplation? What should we be like afterwards? We should have the attitude that now I can't waste any more time. I have to practice the true Dharma. I can't let myself go under the sway of laziness and procrastination. We should think like this as a result.
담배치 조고레 니마지 시구고더라야. 내로 치실 그왕도 땅주요 말이 남징이메로.
So we have to practice the Dharma, right? Because inevitably we will die at one point. Death will come to us. So this being the case, we cannot go under the sway of laziness and procrastination, because also the time of death is not certain.
자 다른 게 뒤져들어 최된 게 뒤져들어 저도 그냥 뭐만 등이니스.
So now our time is finished for today. Let's recite the dedication and aspiration.
Namde namje sengbani namne nebe branam barje ge gana chimbalon truba sibes vole do show. Hello everybody, how are you? I hope you are all well. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.